How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Weather Sponge 5000. Today is February 13th, 2022. As today, we're going to focus on the next major Midwest snowstorm that could bring up to a foot of snow in some places in the Midwest. And we'll also briefly discuss about this snowstorm currently impacting the Northeast at this time. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. So let's begin by taking a look at the radar for the lower 48 of the United States, and of course we're seeing snow along the east coast, more specifically the northeast coast at this time, and we're seeing moderate bands of snow develop right around the Boston area as you guys experience a lot more snow than initially anticipated with this snowstorm, as it seems like this low pressure system came just far to the west enough to where a lot of places along the northeast coast experienced more snow than initially anticipated. In my area in northern New Jersey, the initial forecast only 24 hours before the event was only around less than an inch of snow, but instead we received close to 3 inches here in northern New Jersey, as the snowstorm definitely exceeded expectations, and it did cause a little bit of havoc on the roadways this morning. But thankfully the snow has moved further northeastward, the heaviest of the snow, but it's still impacting, I'd say, southeastern Massachusetts, with some heavier bands of moderate snow developing right around that area. And if we were to continue to move forward, you see that pretty much for New York City the snow has moved to the east of you guys, but you see the snow is expected to continue throughout the duration of the night throughout the southeastern portion of New England. So definitely keep that in mind, that snow will continue throughout southeastern New England, so make sure to take precaution on the roadways right around that area. But if you were to look outside of this snowstorm in the northeast, we do have a little bit of snow showers centered towards Minnesota, Iowa, but this clipper system is expected to dissipate as it moves further eastward because there just isn't enough lift in the atmosphere right around the Great Lakes region to create enough convection for precipitation to occur and a lot of condensation to occur associated with this low pressure system. So as a result, this is expected to dissipate as it moves further eastward as a result of a very stable atmosphere right now throughout the Midwest. So nothing much to worry about with this feature located in Minnesota. Now let's move on to the computer models, because that definitely is gonna change head into later this week, where we could see a major snowstorm impact a lot of areas of the Midwest, including the big cities like Chicago, Milwaukee could get involved, maybe as far south as St. Louis or Kansas City could get involved with some snow as well. So if we were to continue to move forward, you see that the snow bringing decent amount of snow along the northeast coast is now expected to move northeastward, so it won't be much of a threat. And that clipper system I was just talking to you guys about, you see that it dissipates as it moves further eastward because there isn't enough unstable air in the atmosphere right around the Midwest. As you see, the jet stream is pretty straightened out, and you see that the cold air is going to be to the east of the warm air. So as a result, the cold air, and since of course the westerly winds push that air mass further eastward, it isn't going to create an unstable environment on the back side of this cold air, since the cold air is going to move away from the warm air at the position where the jet stream is, not necessarily towards warm air for any sort of convection to occur. So nothing to worry about for, I'd say, the early week, but that's going to change, because if you were to continue to move forward, you see that we're going to see a little bit of a trough move through the Pacific Northwest, bringing heavy snow throughout the higher elevations of the Pacific Northwest and even areas further southward, where we do see the snow come fairly close to Las Vegas, Nevada, and we see the snow extend to around the Salt Lake City area. Wyoming gets involved with some snowfall, and while the low pressure is fairly weak and the strongest of the low pressure associated with these snow showers will be located to the north of it, this will set up for the next major snowstorm expected to impact the Midwest later this week, because you see that behind this low pressure system we see a strong northerly flow that's going to push the jet stream further southward, and that'll force the cold air to interact with the very warm air mass located in the Midwest for a lot of lift to occur and warm air advection to occur along the Midwest for a lot of convection to occur for snowstorm to develop and a more powerful low pressure system. You see that jet stream moves southward, and we see a pretty long band of rain showers and snow showers develop along this jet stream dip, as the cold air is definitely forcing a lot of convection for a heavy amount of precipitation to occur, and a fast rate of development with this low pressure system. And we see snow develop on the northern side of this precipitation, and you see low pressure system does drop down to a pressure where it'll bring some heavy snow, and you see that the European model does bring a large amount of snow throughout many areas of the Midwest, including the Northeast as well, especially the more interior portions of the Northeast. So it's definitely something we need to be aware of. And the GFS model not only agrees with the European model, but expects a snowstorm to be a lot more impactful than what the European model is stating at this time, because you see that for one thing is that the low pressure system is more powerful in the GFS model scenario, which would of course mean that the rate of precipitation associated with this low pressure system will be higher. So there's more likely of a chance that the snowfall accumulation will be higher in general throughout the Midwest. And you see that the GFS model exactly shows why based on the radar, because we see purples along this snow band, which represents extremely heavy snow. That's almost equivalent to snowfall rates over an inch per hour, which is definitely very significant snowfall close to northern Missouri and extending to Chicago as well. If you were to continue to move forward, you see that heavy snow goes right through the center city of Chicago, and this goes through Michigan as well. As you see, the pressure drops way down into the low 990s, even the low 980s by the time this reaches the Northeast, which means that this is a very powerful low pressure system based on what the GFS model is saying. So snow might not be the only threat associated with this low pressure system. There also could be strong winds, because of course when we see a low pressure system drop down to a millibar pressure that low, one of the bigger concerns as well is the wind, because since the pressure is so low along that low pressure system, the air surrounding it, of course there's a lot more higher density with that air, and it's going to want to attempt to fill in for the lack of air pressure associated with that low pressure system. And as it does so, that creates wind. So wind could be an issue if the millibar pressure were to drop that low, which is at 981 millibars. That's equivalent to a category 1 to maybe a category 2 hurricane in some cases. So low pressure, having a pressure that low is quite significant and definitely would bring major snowfall associated with this low pressure system, because of course the amount of the updrafts will be very strong associated with this low pressure system, and the rate of convection will be very high for high amounts of precipitation to occur. Now there's still uncertainty regarding both computer models. Of course, if we were to compare it to the European model, the pressure, you see that the pressure that the European model is taking, it doesn't expect it to drop down below 1,000 millibars till it reaches the Northeast. So you see that the European model is expecting a much weaker storm, and it doesn't drop to the 980s until it reaches Canada, and by that point most of the impacts will be out of the United States, or at least the lower 48. So there's definitely a difference when it comes to the strength of these two computer models. What will determine the strength of this is, of course, how far south that jet stream dips, because that will be a huge determinant in how much lift there will be in the atmosphere for a more powerful storm and more rapid intensification to occur. So looking back again at the European model, right around the 96-hour mark, you see that the cold air is a little bit more visible, and we do see more rapid intensification as a result. We're going to need to just see how strong a northerly flow will be associated with this ridge moving through, and of course this Clipper system. This Clipper system strength will be important as well, because the stronger it is, more likely it's going to bring a stronger northerly wind component for more unstable air to occur. So that's a very important factor as well to keep in mind throughout the throughout the United States. And of course, the position matters too, because if this cliff system is a little bit too far up north, then we're gonna see less of an influence of that cold air moving southward. So definitely a lot of factors over the next several days, but I'll make sure to update you guys once we do get more confidence with the forecast and the amount of unstable air there will be in the Midwest. But I'd say at this point, major snowstorms, so at least somewhere in the Midwest, is more likely. It seems like both the computer models are agreeing that some sort of major snowstorm will occur for the Midwest. The exact question is, how much snow will you experience? And of course, the track is also slightly uncertain, because the European model is taking a track a little bit further southward than the GFS model, and also the area of snow is a little bit more narrow than the GFS model, so this does affect less people in the European model scenario than the GFS model. So the track also matters over the next several days, but I will say we're pretty confident at this point that a major snowstorm will occur somewhere in the Midwest, because it's only around 4 days out. We're closing in on that window where the forecast does become more certain, and the computer models are both in agreement that a snowstorm will occur, which definitely does help add on to the certainty with when it comes to a major snowstorm for the Midwest. So I will put that out there, but make sure to just stay aware of your local forecast over the next several days, because the snowfall accumulation will definitely change and the exact track and the strength will make a huge difference in terms of how much snowfall you experience. So, but I'll make sure to update you guys. Again, really all depends on position of the jet stream over the next several days, which will be determined by the amount of northerly flow we'll see over the next several days. So make sure to keep that in mind throughout the United States. Now, here's my snowfall forecast regarding this next major winter storm for the Midwest. So I'm expecting right around 6 to 12 inches right in the center of Chicago, extending through Michigan, where you could receive potentially up to a foot of snow if the GFS model was correct. But again, still a lot of uncertainty with this, because both computer models are taking different strengths. But as of right now, this is the best forecast. This is your best bet when it comes to snowfall forecast throughout the Midwest. 3 to 6 inches just south of Chicago, and then 1 to 3 just outside of it. This does include St. Louis. This does include the southern portion of Kansas City. So make sure to be aware of that. And this could extend, like I said, to Indianapolis, maybe the northern portion of Ohio, and the interior Northeast during this weekend. So make sure to be aware of this throughout the Midwest over the next week, because this could be a major snowstorm for you guys, and potentially a blizzard if this low pressure system does develop fast enough like the GFS model wants to do. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. And I hope you guys have a good day.